Hi everyone, this is Miss Simino, and I just want to go through the course expectations and give you some tips to be successful in our class. So here you can look, and these are just some different activities that we're going to do through the year. Tie-dyeing, making root beer, making s'mores, marshmallows. So we do like to have a lot of fun. In order to have fun though, we need to know what's going on in class, make sure we're following the rules, know what my expectations are. So that's what this presentation is all about. First thing I want to go over with you are the class goals. This year, I'm hoping that you will understand how chemistry relates to your everyday life. I'd like to gain an understanding of chemistry to help you be successful in future science courses if you're going on to physics, other biology courses, maybe even chemistry AP, or even anatomy and physiology. You need to know chemistry. And the last goal here is to increase your academic skills so that you can succeed in more rigorous coursework. And basically what that means is chemistry is looked at as a college preparatory class because it's generally tougher than other high school classes that you'll take. You're going to have to do a lot more studying, a lot more time outside of class. So hopefully this year this will be good practice for those courses and you'll pick up some tips and tricks along the way. Guidelines for success. In order to be successful in chemistry, you need to be responsible. So if there's homework to be done, it needs to be done. If there's labs to be completed at home, you need to complete those, studying to be done. Chemistry can be tricky for some students and it can be difficult. So I ask that you always try to complete your work. And then if you're not sure how to do that, ask for help. That's very important. Another guideline for success is to treat everyone with respect, and this includes yourself. In our class, we're going to be doing lots of group projects. I'm going to ask you guys to work in groups, to study in groups, to do projects in groups. So it's important that you get along with everybody, but knowing that everybody is not exactly like you, you need to respect their opinions, although you may not agree with their opinions. And the last suggestion that I have is that you make a homework or study plan. We'll talk about this a little later, but basically you're going to need to be spending at least 20 minutes every night doing chemistry homework, and that might even be on the weekends as well. So at the beginning of the year, you're kind of making your plans. When do you have sports practices? Maybe when do you have outside activities like church or Boy Scouts? So make sure that you're planning 20 minutes a night to get your chemistry homework done. It'll make it a lot easier if you have a routine that you have to follow. Class rules. These are pretty simple, pretty easy rules to follow. So the first thing is to come to class every day. You are not seriously ill. And in fact, it's curious that sometimes people will just come into school just for their chemistry class. Because chemistry is a lot like math in that if you miss one day of class, it can impact the rest of the learning for that unit and then for future units as well, because the content builds on top of each other. Make sure that you're arriving on time with the required course materials. Follow directions the first time they're given. Stay on task during work times and do your own work. In my class, I sometimes find that students like to copy each other's work a lot. Would like to make the distinction between copying data. So let's say you took 5 temperature readings from your neighbor. That's one thing if you're copying it down from their paper. It's a different story if I see you copying down the conclusion or the analysis questions. Those are questions that require thought, require you to interpret the information. It would not be acceptable for you to copy down that information or note summaries. Anything that's kind of requiring brain work for your personal thinking, you should not be copying down from somebody else. Just want to go over some different activities that we're going to be doing in class. You're going to notice this year we're doing something called the flipped classroom model, and that's going to be where you're watching videos at home, such as this one, to get the content. Then you're going to be coming into class the next day asking questions about those videos or those activities that you did the night before. I think it works out better for students and that normally when we take notes in class, some students feel rushed and they don't have enough time to complete the notes. So if you're using the computer at home, you'll have time for that. And then those people that hate waiting for others can go quickly through the material. So the idea here is in class we're going to be reviewing and checking work, doing labs, and actually more labs than normal since many of you will be watching the activities at home. We'll be doing discussions, these things called POGIL packets. It means process-oriented guided instructional learning. And these are conceptual packets to help you understand the content better. Doing computer labs, computer simulations, and summarizing the material, and we'll still occasionally do a lecture or two in class. Now outside of class, this is where the 20 minutes comes in. even if I don't specifically assign you homework for 20 minutes, you need to make sure that you are doing these other activities to fill up your 20 minutes to be successful. These activities include watching lectures and videos and taking notes on them, completing practice problems, reviewing and highlighting notes, making flashcards. I found in high school chemistry, flashcards were probably my best study tool between memorizing element names, compound names, and lots of definitions in chemistry as well. So flashcards would be a suggestion for studying. And of course, at home you need to finish any work that you did not complete that day in class. Grades is a traditional grading scale. If you have any questions, see me. Our semester grades, basically, if, for example, first semester is 40% first quarter, 40% second quarter, and then your semester exam is worth 20%. So that semester exam is pretty important. And so you'll notice that a lot of our unit tests include information from previous tests, and that's to help you be more successful on the semester exam. I also want to point out that quarter grades will not be rounded, but semester grades are rounded. Quarter grades don't show up on your college transcripts, so there's really no need to round them. And sometimes it can give students and parents a false sense of completion or knowledge. Class percentages, this is a little new. This year we're going to go with 80% performance and 20% preparation. Items that will be included in your performance grade are the tests, of course, most quizzes, as well as some labs and activities. Preparation is going to include classwork, so most activities, and then notebook checks, as well as some quizzes and labs. Now, let's pay special attention to the notebook checks here. So we're going to be keeping something called an interactive notebook. And many students like this because they feel like it's easy points. It helps keep them organized. They can put all of their information in one place and study, while other students don't like using the interactive notebook format. I've often heard students say, I failed her class because I did not do the interactive notebook. Well, if you were getting a 70% in class and you don't do your notebook, you're going to get a 65, so you'd still pass the class. So you're not going to fail the class just because you haven't done the notebook. But on the other hand, if you're a good student who just needs a few points to buff them up, the notebook is a great way to kind of push you over into the next grade.